who else thought that Lolong had used blink at the end of the chapter, or at least thought about it for a second? The way he just appeared in front of Ramon there, even I was caught off guard. I thought I missed a page, or that Komiki was up to their nonsense again and failed to get the chapter right. But no, even looking at the drafts, Lolong Donaire has seemingly unlocked teleportation somehow. And though people are writing off Ramon in this moment, I think it's a little bit too fast to start saying Ramon is trash or that he's going to get low to mid diff, because I think both Ramon and Lolong were testing each other out, and we're going to see a lot more from both of them in this fight. At least that's what I think, and I'll explain my reasons why as I break down the chapter itself, which is actually called For This Very Moment. And it starts off with a flashback of Ramon, of course, when he was in his younger days, it seems, and he's basically getting his training and hunting skills from the SDF, the self-defense force, now that I'm actually looking at the chapter itself. Point is, Ramon is thinking about the training he's got from the SDF and the hunting skills that he's also acquired, and he's basically coming to the conclusion that he probably won't be able to progress further with the SDF here, so he goes on to become a mercenary. What's interesting is that we start off from Ramon's perspective, and then we get the rest of the story from Mr. Lee from the second page, or the third page actually specifically, where Mr. Lee clarifies that Ramon became a mercenary, which is where he actually met someone from Israel who taught him carve manga. So now we actually have the story of the skills that Ramon has, or at least the ones he showed so far. And with that, we continue the fight with Ramon sort of being a bit more intense. Like, I actually like this panel with Ramon standing, and it seems like he's pretty much locked in. And Lolong, he's like, hey, look, don't be shy, come on in, I'll whip your ass. And look, he does whip his ass when he starts coming in close, which Ramon then proceeds to do, and he starts trying to strike at him with the similar strikes where it looks like an open hand strike or a palm strike in specific. And Ramon, he's just going in against Lolong here, but he isn't really successful. He can't break through Lolong's defense, and that's going to be a very big problem for Ramon in this fight. He isn't progressing past Lolong's defense, like, at all really. And even though he throws in a leg sweep, you know, we've seen a leg sweep work against Lolong Donaire towards the end of his fight against Oma in specific. But against Ramon, this is completely ineffective because Lolong, he just dodges it, he just lifts his leg, wow. But Ramon keeps on attacking, and in his rush, his barrage against Lolong, Lolong manages to get a hit in with his elbow, and oh boy, he sends him back a bit, basically showcasing what I've been saying this entire time, because this pattern will repeat itself again, as Kano is of course watching from the stand, seeing of course who will actually fight him. But Ramon ends up recovering a little bit, and he seems like he's like very good. That's what he says after recovering a little bit, and you get the sense here that Ramon, he's in a good spot, sort of. He's comfortable here. And what I mean by that is that what we'll see later on in this chapter is that his attacks start to speed up. And so here's what I'm theorizing. Ramon is holding back to test just how far he can push Lolong Donaire here. And it might be because I have too much faith in Ramon's confidence, but I think his confidence also speaks to the situation that he's in right now. Even though he hasn't progressed much, it seems like he gets hit, gets sent back, it doesn't seem to bother him, and then he starts improving in what he's doing here, which is exactly what happens as they clash again. In fact, Yamashita points this out. He's like, whoa, he's done with recon, whatever that means. I'm guessing it's a military term for something. But the commentators are saying, yeah, he's clearly speeding up. However, Yamashita points out that even though he's sped up, it won't help against Lolong because he's using the same pattern of movement. However, Yamashita's wrong here because Ramon has chosen to put a little mix-up in his regular pattern. And Lolong, he catches on to this because as he seems like he's throwing a strike that Lolong didn't mind taking, he actually dodges it, and we see that Ramon had 2 fingers out. Now, we get some clarification from Mr. Lee later what this actually means, and that is the fact that Ramon tried to grab Lolong with that attack, so it wasn't a strike, which explains why Lolong essentially dodged that attack, whereas he was blocking the other strikes from earlier. And Mr. Lee even clarifies that yeah, Ramon's forte, at least as far as he knows, is grabbing his opponent, taking them down, and at that point he probably just finishes them off. And that's something to keep in mind because that might be the most dangerous position Lolong might find himself in when it comes to this fight in particular. And Ramon now starts going for the grabs now, and Lolong, he's just straight up dodging. And again, we see Ramon improving, or at least throwing in another variable, and that is his stomp. His stomp is so powerful that it has a few cracks on the arena that they are using. And so Lolong, though he barely managed to dodge, he has to look out for those stomps as well. And it is at this point that Mr. Lee and Akiyama point out that both Ramon and Lolong, they're not exactly flashy fighters. And this is something we already knew for Lolong, and I think you probably could have came to the same conclusion with Ramon from the latest chapter, the one before this one. They're very pragmatic fighters. They basically fight to get the job done and to grab that W. And this does sort of, let's say, hurts their fights, at least how they look visually, because they don't look, let's say, as entertaining. In fact, Mr. Lee points this out in specific, that Ramon, as a consequence of the way he fights, he isn't that flashy. The fights aren't that entertaining for the audience. But Akiyama also points out that even after this entire time, and Lolong has sort of been on the back foot, kind of, at least in the sense that he is not initiating the attacks, and he's not even gassed out. He's taking Ramon's rush at him and everything that he's throwing at him like it's nothing, basically. And we come to the pivotal moment of this chapter, and this to me had me completely confused, because at this point there's some distance between them after that massive stomp, and Ramon takes some time to basically say how impressed he is by Lolong, and that he is driven to essentially kill him. But the very next page, he appears right in front of Ramon, already hitting him in the face with an elbow. And this is where I thought I had missed a page, but no, it's the same in the drafts as well. And Ramon, he's stunned. He's like, wait, what is actually happening here? And we hear something say flick, and Lolong launches his ultimate move, the invisible elbow, at him, and oh boy, he ends off saying, what is the matter? Is that all you've got? Then it is curtains for you. Which, by the way, it isn't for Ramon. We'll still see more of this, but yeah, at first I thought it was definitely Blink. It makes the most amount of sense with Lolong just appearing in front of Ramon. But I don't think there's much of a connection between Setsuna and Lolong here. I really don't. And I don't even think there's a connection between him and Ryuki, who also knows the Blink. So it might be a technique similar to Blink, or it might be something else altogether. Honestly, your guess is as good as anyone else's at this point. But it seems like Lolong has something new, something dangerous, something lethal. And we'll probably get to see what it was next week, it seems. But yeah, so far I do like the fight. I think we're still getting warmed up, but I do like what we're getting so far. However, Ramon definitely has to start stepping up his game if he wants to do really anything to Lolong at this point, because he has not done anything to Lolong. But yeah, that's the video. Don't forget to like and sub, and until next time, take it easy.